I'm Allie. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melissa and I have 2 kids and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles. Lesbian Chronicles.
Hello and Happy New Year. This is our first episode.
My friend, I saw the pictures. You were clearly having a blast.
Oh, it's so funny. Like, everybody makes such a hype about New Year's Eve, and I hate New Year's Eve. I always have I think I hype it up too much, and then I end up not having fun. But keeping it low key, we rented a cabin in Blue Ridge, and
that did not look low key, my friend.
Okay, well, Marina got a hold of the drapery, and so yeah, for those of you who haven't seen my Instagram photos, we had this sequin backdrop, and Marina and I and our friends, we all dressed up as if we were going out for New Year's, and we just took a bunch of photos that were fun, and it was a blast.
4 people in a cabin in North Georgia do photo ops that includes glitter and a backdrop. I'm intensely impressed.
It was great. It was awesome. So.
Meanwhile, I was stuck watching the Georgia game, and I was in such a mood. We were going to go out, and then we were you know what, let's just we've got the kids, let's just be chill and have the kids. So in my mind, I'm envisioning this kind of family night. We're going to order in, we're going to play games. Next thing I know, everybody's into the Georgia game, and I'm just this is the lamest night ever.
I was the lone wolf in the cabin wanting to watch the Georgia game, and everybody's turn it off, the ball's dropping, and I'm down to the wire,
turn it off,
11:57, and I'm fine.
I
missed the ending.
I literally was okay, tonight, you know what is your night, tomorrow is my day.
100%.
Anyway, well, we are so lucky to have a special guest here today. Do you want to introduce her, Melissa?
Sure. Well, I'm going to let her do the total intro, but we are joined by Jaime, who I can't remember your exact title, but it's along the lines of a mental and health coach. Am I right?
Correct. I mean, a title, it's like giving yourself your own nickname, right? I call myself a mental and physical health coach. So it's when personal trainer meets life coach, and they have a really awesome fit baby. It's what I try to do to our little community.
That's awesome. That's a great idea, because I feel a lot of the time when you are working out, you've got someone there with you, you want to kind of vent a little bit and talk. So
100%. But as I was telling Allison offline, the main reason I combine the mental is because so many people think personal training or a fitness journey is simply a matter of, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in the next 12 weeks or this year. They forget that there are a lot of tiny little habits that go into losing that weight, starting with drinking more water, So people focus so much on the macro that they don't understand how to get there, right? How do you lose 20 pounds, 1 pound at a time? Okay, but what habits go into losing 1 pound at a time?
The water is huge too, Jaime. I feel that's such a, I can tell day to day if I'm bad. I try to fill this huge container and all day just be pouring it into my little cup in my office.
My hydro flask right here.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's I notice if I don't, I absolutely can tell.
Yep. Yeah, your thinking is foggier. You are more tired and lethargic. Your digestion isn't moving as well. There's the whole host of things, but again, that's just water, right? Nobody's talking about treadmills or ellipticals or 4 days a week in the gym. No.
Yeah.
Water.
And it's a whole mindset though. It's habits. It's getting into the habit of doing water. Even I got into a habit where I was doing too much kombucha, and I'm oh, it's supposed to be good for me, I'm going to do kombucha, but I'm it made me miss out on my just water.
Yeah. What a lesbian problem to have.
I know. Too much kombucha.
We got a kombucha bar here at my office, so I end up just over there constantly refilling. Yeah. It's probably 1,000 calories a day.
It's very high in sugar. You don't think about it.
Yeah.
I guess it's better than beers, but
true.
Right? Yeah.
In some instances.
That's very true though, with the water and just getting into the habit, and then also just the mindset of like, I think you do a lot of that too. It's not just like you said, going to the gym and pumping out reps.
Yeah.
Kind of like related to that, like, how much being mentally healthy goes into play with being
Right.
physically healthy, because it's
Yeah.
like, if you're bummed, it's so much harder to like get to the
Motivate.
gym.
Yes. Okay. So I dislike, I don't want to use the word hate, but I want to, I dislike the word motivation. To me, motivation is a drug, and I don't think anyone should be relying on drugs to feel any type of way, right? They're known for being a quick hit. And then as soon as that hit is over, you are back to baseline or below baseline. And it's going to take a bigger hit to get that same feeling next time, right? I don't want my clients to get motivated. I don't want them to be inspired. I want them to be disciplined. I want them to want to I want them to be workhorses. I want them to develop a habit, a routine, and a system for getting themselves into the gym and eating clean, because an object in motion stays in motion.
So true.
Right. And my wife has a tattoo, even before we met, it says healthy body, healthy mind. And there's an infinity symbol underneath. Melissa, to your point, it is so hard to have a healthy mind if you don't take care of your body, but it is also very hard to have a truly healthy body if you're not taking care of your mind either.
Absolutely. And I think that's like a big thing that Allie and I both experienced, me especially when I was coming out. Like, I couldn't eat. I was so like anxiety ridden.
Right.
And it was, great for weight loss, but at a certain point it was like, I'm losing too much weight and I feel terrible. And I think, that is probably a lot of what our listeners are dealing with, is that either, the anxiety is causing them to not eat, or it's causing them to overeat, or, not be able to get in the gym and or even just go for a walk every day.
Yeah.
Something's that easy.
It's like really hard to motivate.
Yep. 100%. And it's definitely something that plagues our community, because I feel like, honestly, without stereotyping, but more what I've noticed is that a lot of minorities we carry a chip on our shoulder. We have a strike against us. That could be female, that could be LGBTQ, right? I come from a Jewish community, right? We have something to prove in my own culture, right? We try to, again, like I said, we have something to prove. The prevalence of mental health issues in our LGBTQ plus community, we are overrun and plagued with anxiety, depression, some PTSD from a trauma that occurred. And the reason I got into this in the first place is because too often I had people quit on me, or I had people not even want to start because they're like, I'm just too anxious. And I was like, don't you see the cure is here though?
Right.
The cure is in I can't say cure. The answer, the healing takes place in nature, by getting steps, by getting more fruits and vegetables every day. I assure you, the symptoms of depression will wildly reduce. I just need your faith.
Like, I noticed, like, when people see results right away, at least like with me, I remember like after I had a baby, you lose weight so fast after, because you're nursing and doing all these things. But I remember feeling like it was so motivating to keep going, because it was just like you felt that initial hit of like, oh my God, it's working.
Right. Again, that reliance on motivation is in trouble. The other thing is that people are always looking for a set objective, right? Like you said, after you have a baby, you want to lose the weight. Okay, great. But what if we change that to feeling better, digesting things better, improved mental clarity? Okay. If we put the scale aside, we literally threw it out, would you still say it was hard to see results? No, the results you'd be looking for are different.
You'd feel them in your mind, and
you probably be happier. Right? It's only when my clients step on the scale that they may or may not be discouraged, but they wake up in the morning excited. And then the scale, right? I forget the scale. That is a measure of progress. That is not the measure of progress. Yeah.
And then they want to have more conversations because they feel better, and that leads to, you know, more community. I think it's like, it's so self-fulfilling in so many ways.
Yep. It is a cascade, but it begins with you taking care of yourself and truly believing that mental health and physical health are not mutually exclusive. You don't have to wait to heal your anxiety before you set foot in a gym. Like you said, go for a walk. I don't need you in the gym, right? There are times where it might set off your social anxiety. I don't want you in a gym. Something you can do to move your body that will end up making you feel better.
What advice do you have? And this might be a little related to me personally. I've noticed that like since I hit, I want to say like 41-ish, I just turned 42. My metabolism is like wrecked now. And it used to be like, oh, I noticed I was putting on like a few pounds and I could just do my normal little trick of like, okay, I'll just cut back on what I'm eating, like eat a little bit more, you know, veggies and protein, and the pounds would be gone. And that's not working now. It's not working. So like, can you speak to that at all? Like, because I know, you know, we have a lot of listeners that are over the age of 40, and I'm sure they're dealing with the same kind of thing. Like, is there a different approach?
Is there a different approach? I mean,
like,
only in that you have to be slightly more body aware. I mean, every year after I turn 30, stuff just feels heavier, right? I wake up a little bit more sore every single day, and there's nothing we can do, right? This is aging. However, what I've noticed with my clients who are over 40 is having them focus on the intention behind their movement, putting more effort in, I guess, right? At 20, 25, even 30, we can go through the motions, right? Like you said, clean it up, eat some more chicken, the weight will drop. There's almost no thinking or intention. As you get older, really with anything, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your working out, whether it's your career, you have to put a little bit more intention behind it, right? Like I've started asking my clients to send me a video of them performing their final set, what I call their top set, whatever their heaviest weight. And I don't even look at their form. I look at their eyes. I look at their face. Or is it like a fucking, is it a grind for them? Right? Like
that's me.
Yeah, totally.
So, Marina's always like, why does your face look like that? And I'm like, because this is hard.
This is my trying face. So again, I have them focusing on effort because that matters a lot more. And then of course, nutrition over 40, we got to focus on low inflammatory foods. So the less processed, the better. If you want to look into, it's called the FODMAP diet. There are red light foods and green light foods, heavy on, right? Because our body is already, it's accumulated 41 years of stress. Physical, emotional, spiritual, mental. We have to do what we can to alleviate that stress. So it starts with what you put into your body.
Yeah, I think that is so important. Like I've been reading a lot about like gut health, and they talk a lot about that diet. It's like super boring, nerdy stuff, but it's like, it does change everything. Your gut is like paramount.
Your second brain.
Yeah. More important probably than the running. Like I could likely give up the running and have a much cleaner, better, it has nothing to do with how I look. I feel like it's all what I eat.
Yeah. And the thing also that I've noticed about my older clients is because they're so sensitive to changes, is the more we focus on the scale and the more it stresses them out, the more their body is resistant to change.
Right.
I say the stress that you cause by giving yourself anxiety is more stress than I could give you with like a CrossFit training program. Like the amount of inflammation you cause yourself by worrying about the scale, by focusing on the lower pooch area, and by freaking yourself out over life in general is way more inflammation than I could ever deliver via training and nutrition.
Why do you think it is, like, to your point about like this community seems to be particularly affected with anxiety? And I mean, do you think it's because of we're marginalized, or how do you talk about that? Like, why does this community seem to struggle more?
I do think it's because we are marginalized, and to an extent we have learned helplessness. We take on an identity that we were given it's a combination of, okay, learned helplessness, but also a narrative we learned about inequality when we were younger, whether it was gender inequality, whether it was, I guess, like queer centered inequality, right? Or even just if you were bullied, right? You learned what inequality was, and you said, well, life will never be fair then.
For me.
Yeah. That was when you were 9.
Right.
And now you are 41.
Yeah.
And you still think that life is unfair. Where really? Life is freaking good, but you haven't let it, because you never let life balance itself out. And if you would just open yourself up to an opportunity, it would, again, life, the universe would have righted that wrong. You just had to look for it. But we're like, no, I will always be disadvantaged.
You know, that's interesting. Because I just saw a TikTok video last night that really struck me. This woman was talking about how just kind of like, and I've heard this before, like having a mantra, you know, like, but just flipping your mindset. And her mindset was, I am so lucky. The best things happen for me. Yeah. And she was like, I just kept repeating this to myself. And she was like naming off all these, like, they were pretty minor things, but all like good, cool, like lucky random things that had happened to her just within the past like 24 hours.
So there's a famous study done where they had, I believe it was 20 people, maybe it was 10 people, and they had them in a restaurant and they said, hey, we're going to bring you in to evaluate the food. But that really wasn't what they were doing. They took 10 people with a positive disposition and 10 people with a negative disposition and brought them each into the restaurant. They gave them a free meal. They had them walk out. They left a $50 bill just outside the restaurant, like on the threshold. And they said, we wonder who will pick it up. 9 out of 10 people with the positive disposition noticed the $50 bill on the floor. 2 people with the negative disposition noticed the $50 bill on the floor. We go through life, our community goes through life not seeing the $50 bill because they say life has happened to me. It has not happened for me. It is not in my favor. It is out to get me based on, again, this event that occurred when I was 9. And I refuse to change my narrative.
Oh, I love that. Cause that's true. Like, I feel like so many people look for why they're the victim of a situation or why everybody's kind of comparing their hard thing. Whose is worse and why was, and to me, it's like, everybody's got a cross to bear. I think Melissa and I had a conversation that was related to someone who's super wealthy coming out and how maybe they had an easier time because of that. And I'm thinking, no, they have these other issues. Like, I don't know, we're all comparing our cross to bear.
Well, you can't compare hurt.
You get to a point that you're like, everybody's got something. So we might as well all just look at the positive.
But I also think that within our community, within the coming out later community, so many of us are carrying this guilt. Then that is really what's weighing us down, because a lot of us didn't know that we were gay when we were 9. So, there was instances of like, some sort of like shaming around being gay at that age. But what really is weighing on so many of us is that guilt that comes with coming out later and like feeling like that you messed up all these other people's lives and it was a selfish decision and now you got to pay for it. And so it's like you almost feel like you have to sit in that guilt and have to sit in that hurt, but really it's like you can do that for a time, but you have to release it eventually.
Right.
I think that also speaks to the inequality, right? You in this case, you were the punisher, right? And you created victims. So now you must sit in sadness and pity, shame, guilt, embarrassment until the moral right has been wronged. But it's not the case. I mean, a perfect example, right? Today's January 3rd. Let's say you still haven't been to the gym. What are you going to say? Well, I'll just wait till January 1st, 2024. No.
Sounds like a good idea.
I know.
But you can say, I'll start today. That's fine. Right? Okay. So it's not January 1st, but today is better than next year. Today is better than 3 months from now, right? I don't care when you came out. Those years were those years. The best is yet to come.
Can you share some of your coming out journey? Like, when did that happen? What was it like?
Yeah, so I came out at 26, didn't know I was gay ever. Like I said, I grew up in the Jewish community, so it's not that it was, and it was a very liberal, open-minded, Reform Judaism, but still nobody came out. So it didn't have any role models. So it almost didn't occur to me that it was a possibility until much later in my life. So I only ever dated men. I was even engaged to one up until I was 25. At which point I said, something is missing. You're so great. And yet, so I broke up with him and he totally understood because he said, is it me? And I said, I swear to God, I'd tell you if it was you.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like actually me, but I don't know what it is. So this whole time I was talking to my massage therapist, as one does, right? Hairdresser, massage therapist, about the trials and tribulations of my engagement. Also, he was the perfect Jewish man, right? Like he fit the bit, like perfect Jewish family, same, he was a couple years older, couple zeros wealthier, like we're going to have a little nuclear family, but I couldn't. So I was telling her about it and she's like, this, I get it. And I definitely want to keep talking about it, but you're naked on my table. Do you want to maybe go for coffee and talk about this? And I said, is that like a date? And she's like, are you gay? Because I knew she was, and I was obviously totally cool with it. And I said, I don't know, but at this point, like I'll try anything because I'm 25 and I'm about to hit my expiration date according to my like Jewish faith. So I may as well try women, and I did, and I never went back.
Wow. Oh my God.
Damn. Yeah. So literally within months of ending my, like 14 days of ending my engagement, I had my first girlfriend.
Wow.
Wow. And literally never looked back.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And then what did the ex-boyfriend or ex-fiance say?
Funny enough, they are now non-binary.
Okay.
He said, so common.
Pardon? Right?
It's so common.
I always kind of had a feeling, but I thought maybe you were just a tomboy. Also, I like wearing pink thongs, and I attended my first Pride. And I said, okay.
Wow.
That's amazing.
For both of us.
Yeah.
Really happy for you. Yeah. So I mean, again, he couldn't be mad because I didn't cheat on him. I didn't replace him with another guy.
You probably opened up the door for him to do that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So now I am happy that we ended amicably. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's really awesome. How long have you been with you 5 years with your wife?
5 years married, 5 years and a day together. No, I'm just kidding. 6 years together.
That's hilarious.
5 years married. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how fast were you living together?
10 days.
No way.
10 days, but also, okay, so here's my story. I justified my U-Haul. So as I mentioned, I'm originally from we all have a
That's the name of the episode.
Right, 100%.
I can justify my U-Haul. I lived in Toronto and she was in grad school in Hollywood, Florida. And I said, listen, I've been through long-term relationships. I am mature. I have a steady income. I don't want to keep going back and forth every 2 weeks, right? You're living off student loans. That is not responsible. I'm just going to move in with you to see if this is going to work long-term rather than that honeymoon 72 hours every other week thing. And she's like, and then before she knew it, I had a one-way ticket.
It's a financial decision.
I didn't have a choice. I was older. I was more mature. That's it. Said and done. So we met April 1st and I moved in April 10th. And then on April 15th, I asked her to be my girlfriend officially because it was working.
That's all you needed was this few days.
Yeah.
It's working great.
This is going well. I think we will be girlfriends now.
That is hilarious.
And then you told her that too.
Yeah, I clubbed her and I said, you will be mine.
Oh my God, I love that.
That's all I need to do. Okay. Gotta club Marina and drag her to my house. You're not leaving.
Your girlfriend too, for her to get a tattoo that says healthy body, healthy mind. Like the first thing I thought of when you said that is like, you've got to really know that you are for life disciplined because you can't have that tattoo if your body like
stretching
and then suddenly you're sitting around eating McDonald's every day.
That's it, right?
What does that tattoo say?
It's a commitment.
She must have a lot of discipline.
She does. She actually, one second, let me see if I can show you guys. So all of these bodybuilding awards, those are all hers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple medals up there, but she got into competing a little bit after we met and hasn't looked back.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, she used to go to Orange Theory, and she was a diehard. This also speaks to, a general lesson for anyone listening. We can put a pin in the lesbo combo, but exercise isn't a one size fits all. There are people out there for whom spinning is their jam, Pilates. Yeah. We've got our yogis whom we love, our runners, our bodybuilders. None of that is bad. None of that is wrong. Whatever you're willing to commit to because you enjoy it, go stick to that.
Mm-hmm. Right. I totally agree with that. Like, I've been doing CrossFit for like 5, almost 6 years. And it's literally the only thing that's like truly held my attention.
Right.
I was a runner for a while. I did triathlons, and I mean, I'm not like the peak CrossFitter. I'm like always at the bottom of the leaderboard, but it's like I consistently go at least.
Then that's your thing. And again, if that's something you can stick with, amazing.
I think that's just it. It's finding something you can stick with, and that's like truly, like, you're not getting bored. Like you said, like some people love the yoga thing. Allie loves to run, so
yeah.
And then just get lost in a podcast on my run, and next thing I know, it's over.
Yep.
But Jaime, so would your clients Zoom with you? Like, give me an idea of kind of who you see and how they could, like, what would it look like if you were hired?
Great question. So you and I have a Zoom chat so we can get to know each other, make sure that we vibe on the same level, right? Our body language mirrors each other, etc. You agree to work with me. I send you an intake form. So you will tell me about your likes, your dislike, your goals, hopes, dreams, aspirations, expectations of me. So I can make sure that I'm fulfilling, what you want. I can be there for you. And then no, you never see me again, Allison. I do not show up via video unless you're on my platinum plan, in which case we have a call every week. But it's all self-guided.
Okay.
So again, you will tell me what you enjoy. I will make you a plan based on that. I'll make you a nutrition protocol customized for you. And then you and I will check in every week formally via email, just to make sure, sleep, stress, energy, compliance, mental health is all where it needs to be. And if it's not, we troubleshoot and navigate ways to improve it for the upcoming week. But you're on your own doing what it is you like to do.
Is it like, talk to me about a little bit, like with your clients that like nutrition, for instance.
Sure. Yeah.
So you might look at somebody's age, what their weight is, what they're their goal for what they wish they could be. And then you're putting together, I'm a vegetarian, so this would be a vegetarian plan for someone like me. Or is that kind of what I'm thinking?
It's very similar, but even more autonomy for you. I do not create meal plans. I believe that is very restrictive, right? Because if I tell you, Allison, these are the foods you're allowed and these are the ones you're not, you're immediately going to want, you're going to want to go for whatever.
Where's the cake on my meal plan?
Or I get questions all the time like, hey coach, when do we get a cheat meal? And I said, excuse you, why are we cheating? Why are we already wanting to deviate from? So instead, what I do is lay out how many servings of fruits and vegetables, protein, carbs, and fats I want you eating per day. I have a recommended foods list. As I mentioned, we want low inflammatory, we want low processed, and then you have the empowerment, you have the autonomy to make your own, one day at a time, one meal at a time. I have busy moms doing 1 week at a time of meals for themselves and their kids.
And do they keep like a food diary so they know that they're honest? How do they do it? Okay.
Exactly. So we use an app called MyFitnessPal. It's free. It's available for everyone. You enter the food either, Katie and I always do it the night before so that we're set up for success the next day. But I have people who fly by the seat of their pants and just make it work one meal at a time. And then at the end of the week, whatever your assigned check-in day, there is a question on the form that says, how many days per week were you compliant with your nutrition? And you can give me a 4, a 6, a 7 out of 7. And then of course my answer is, well, what went well and what needs improvement?
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's a very interesting idea about putting the food in the day before, because I've used my Fitness Pal and I always do it like I'm eating this meal currently and I'm like adding, you know.
But then, so the issue with well, first of all, I'm a planner, like strong Virgo here, but at the end of the day, you're going to be like, okay, I have 50 grams of protein and 6 grams of fat. What the hell do I eat? I'd rather avoid that problem and have it all laid out, you know, for the morning of, and I'm just set up for success.
I like that. Jamie, will you talk about sleep for a second? Because I'm like a sleep lunatic. I'm so focused about my sleep.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another really important thing that people coming out, well, I did, at least I lost a lot of sleep because I was worried and I was scared, and I'm great now, but I think that that's something so important for everything. I mean, they say it helps even keep you skinny. Is like,
the amount of stuff, the amount of physiological and psychological things that occur in your body when you are sleeping is mind-blowing. So of course, a ton of hormones are released while you sleep, right? A lot of growth hormone, testosterone coursing through your body. It's why we also wake up lighter. Fluid distribution fluid redistribution occurs. Another reason we wake up lighter, assuming you got a good night's sleep.
Right.
But as you mentioned, if you go to bed anxious, well, good luck going to bed. If you were anxious before bed, right? Good luck going to bed. So I actually have 4 resources on my program that I give to clients specifically about how to journal and how to brain dump. Because you can take all of the melatonin you want. You can, you know, Katie and I have a code for CBD. Like, we're huge fans. But if it's not out of your head, then you won't get to bed. It won't happen for you. So sleep actually starts before you go to sleep. When have you turned off your screens? What was the last thing you ate before bed? What are you doing? What kind of conversations are you having with other people or with yourself before bed? Are you journaling? Are you reflecting on your day, right? A little edge of bed reflection. What am I grateful for? What went really well today? What tasks on my to-do list am I still thinking of? Get them out on paper. It can be done in the morning.
I like that brain dump. Like, you're right.
Brain dump. Oh my God, my clients love one long stream of consciousness about whatever it is. And I'm like,
I'm curious, like, what somebody like you who's really into fitness, and what time do you go to bed?
So Katie and I, so no screens after 8:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Man.
No screens after 8:30. We walk the dogs typically together, unless I go walk the dogs and she cleans up the kitchen. And that's kind of like our distribution of chores. 8:45, we'll come back together, pajamas, hygiene, face, skincare routine. 9:15, 9:20, we start reading. 9:45, one of us will get tired or start falling asleep. Lights out by 10.
Okay, man, that is discipline. But wait, so no, you guys wouldn't be laying in bed watching TV because you consider that a screen?
We wouldn't be laying in bed watching TV because we don't have TVs in our bedroom.
I knew you were going to say that.
So we both grew up without TVs in our bedroom. Katie, because she grew up poor, so she didn't have a TV at all. But my parents wanted me focusing on books. So that's why I didn't have one. And then as we got older, we both believed that every room in your house should be used for its main purpose, right? The kitchen doesn't have a TV either. Kitchen is for food and community. Bedroom is for sex and sleeping. TV, living room, right? There's not even a TV in the dining room. Again, also for eating. Office is just office. So yeah, that's why there's no TV screen in our bedroom.
Yeah, that's good. That's one way to do it.
Yeah,
that is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty disciplined, but I'm not that
I know. I liked a lazy day, like, you know, like a lazy Saturday morning watching TV in bed. Like,
So that's why we bought the cloud couch.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, right. It feels like a bed, and we can have our Netflix and chill in the living room, feeling like we're super comfy in bed.
Nice.
Yeah, so I get it. It's not like I'm constantly moving and focused on being better and improving myself. Absolutely not. We are definitely lazy. We just draw the line at TVs in the bedroom. That's all.
Well, I think it's also like what we were just traveling and we didn't have a TV and we were reading, we both had books and we both said like, we actually prefer that. Like, I don't know why we don't do it more. I'm reading a great book right now. Like, it's like, why aren't I? Well, I don't know why I don't do that. It's like my natural tendency now is to get in my bed and then look over at Maria and be like, what are we watching?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's okay. So that's the other thing, right? When you're each reading your individual thing, and this definitely applies to couples, and it's something I love dialogue. I love I mean, it's one of the reasons I got married, so that I never had to stop talking. And there's always gonna be someone to listen. But it's so great after we both put down our books, and she'll say, like, what did you read? What did you learn? Or she'll know that the next day I am inevitably going to make a reel about something profound that I learned. And she like looks forward to it. So I think this also speaks to, you know, like I said, Katie had that tattoo before I met her. I knew one of her values was physical health, which is clearly important to me. Education, impact, another value that is important to both of us that speaks to our compatibility. We are both constantly growing as people and as athletes and as wives and as professionals. I don't think I could be with someone who just didn't like to read. I'd get bored.
You're right. It does stimulate great conversation.
Yeah, 100%. Even if it's a different opinion, right? You wouldn't have known that there was a difference of opinion until,
That's really, really cool. I'm going to bring that nugget home.
Yeah. I know. I think you've got a lot of good little tips for, especially this is perfectly timed with the beginning of the new year, you know. Good tips for a fresh start. And
how can our listeners get in touch with you if they want your services?
The best way, the easiest way is typically Instagram. Okay. I am at JAIM and then the number's 91, Jaime91. And then if you want to read a little bit more about me, JaimeFiler.com is my website.
Jaime, tell them how you spell it again, because I think I almost did it wrong.
I know
it's French. It's like J'aime. It's JAIMEFILER.
Perfect. You got a lot of followers on Instagram, so you must be doing something right.
Right.
Value. I just try to deliver as much value as possible.
I see that in you, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
You walk the talk.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on Lesbian Chronicles.
Yes, thank you for having me on Lesbian Chronicles.
I really appreciate it. If I find myself in St. Pete, we'll look y'all up. Maybe we can.
I know, absolutely.
Yeah. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. You know where to find me.
Awesome. Thanks, Jaime.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Take care.
You too.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandallie@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Allie, ALLI @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.